if you look at most good football players, they have a nice butt.
7-minute abs.
Chris is touching DK's abs.
I really want to touch them in real life, too. Yo, what's up? Chris Simms here. We're Unbuttoned Podcast. I got my man, Ahmed Fareed. Did I say it right? I'm still like a work.
Ahmed.
I'm
That's
sorry,
okay.
man. I'm choking under the gun with that one. I really am.
What I love is that there's nothing, like fake about your admiration for the calves and the football
The
rear
body,
and
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's come up off air multiple times now.
Well, it is part of like scouting, and I am into it. As oddly enough, it's like something that happened like with really as growing up. It was more of like me and my father talking about players and whatever it may be.
Attention to detail.
Attention to Christopher, look at his legs. I mean, of course he can run like that. It really became like a talking point where I was like, yeah, Dad, that does make a lot of sense. I get you.
Yeah.
So we always talked about that. I've scouted your legs and butt too, just so you know, not to make you feel uncomfortable.
And you go, maybe played in high school, never had a college
no
career.
future there. No future. Right. Nobody's paying money for your legs and butt. I'm sorry.
Although I guarantee you there's been great players with no butt, and we're going to go.
We're going to do that. You brought that up. You want to know the great players with no legs and butt.
The all-no butt team.
And we'll do that at some point. The all-no Kim Kardashian team.
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
I'm going to whoop your butt in that ping pong at some point, too.
No, you may try. You're better at me than many things, Chris. Ping pong might not be one of them. Syracuse University, my junior year, Booth Hall, dorm champion.
Okay.
Back-to-back years.
Right.
Junior and senior year, Booth Hall, dorm champion. There were 5 participants both years. Crushed them all.
Okay, damn, I'm a little scared now that I said that. Okay, oh wait, you're in the media and you went to Syracuse though?
Yeah.
That I'm really surprised by this. This is a revelation.
None of us around here.
There's none of you.
I'm holding the torch for Syracuse University in the media department. We are going to have some fun on this show. The third Unbuttoned podcast.
Number 3.
We have no buttons. We've already lost all the buttons here.
Well, that's part of being unbuttoned, is you don't know what the hell to expect.
You showed me it was okay to go with a hoodie.
Yeah, I like it.
I will never not wear a hoodie.
Yep.
We got Tony Dungy on the program today, a little bit later, talking about Kyler Murray. We pick his brain about free agency. He's going to be going 180 miles an hour in a car.
Which doesn't make sense in the same sentence. No. I mean, Tony Dungy going like...
Risk taker.
I think there's like a better chance of Tony pulling over a cop for speeding than him actually ever getting pulled over for speeding by a cop.
So we get to talk to the great Tony Dungy. We get some reaction. You came out with your 8 quarterbacks.
8.
Top 8 draftable quarterbacks out of the draft. You ranked them.
I'm sure the reaction was pleasant, as you know.
No, some of it was.
Oh, it was. You've seen some of the reaction.
Yeah, one person liked it.
Okay, one person. Good.
We have 13 that questioned it.
Okay, that's what Twitter's for.
So we'll get to that a little bit later on. As you know, you can listen anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can watch us. We're actually here, and you can see us. Our mouths moving over on YouTube/NBC Sports. We thank you for the comments so far. I've actually gotten a few comments on the podcast. We've only done it a couple times.
Good.
They've been very good. So we appreciate the comments and the reviews and the subscribes and stuff.
Yep.
Keep that up. We'll keep.
We're going to keep trucking along and getting to know each other and have fun and whatever else. Yeah.
We'll grab a drink at some point,
maybe
on air. But we do have, we're fortunate that we have so much going on with the combine and ranking these draft prospects, but also with free agency. We got the flirtation period.
Yeah.
Coming right around the corner.
It's coming.
This is where teams can actually, flirt. You can't sign the guy yet.
Right.
But you can say, hey, I admire you and I enjoy what you bring. What do you think of me? And then later on, a few days later, you can go, okay, let's get married.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool because it gives you some baseline as far as what's going to happen during free agency, because the rumors start to spill out about, oh, this guy sounds like, him and this team have a marriage that's working together, whatever it may be. I almost wish they would just open it up for dialogue, really, once the combine's over, and just get it out there so we can all talk and be a part of the conversation, whatever it is. Because I think a lot of these teams, the groundwork is laid at the combine for, Team X to meet with Agent Y, okay? And we're going to talk about...
It'd be a good time to do it.
Yes, exactly right. Let's start talking. We have a need at this position. You represent this player who plays that position, and that's really where it does get started. But how about you? Are you a good flirter? I mean, you got married, so you were one time in your life a good flirter.
One time I was able to do it. No, I wasn't. I was like, make me an offer.
Yeah.
Right? If you just let's not beat around the bush.
Right.
Let's just make make me an offer. So this period, I would not be very good with this period. Once it gets time to exchange numbers, then it's like, okay.
Then you're a little bit better.
Let's be serious.
Yeah,
but since we're not there yet, let's do a little bit of that. You know, the Millionaire Matchmaker. Remember that show that was on TV?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
I really enjoyed that show.
When I hear Matchmaker, though, I just want to go Matchmaker, Matchmaker, make me a match, find me a find, catch me a catch. What the hell is that from? What is that from? It's something old. Maybe Fiddler on the Roof is what they're telling me. All I know is I feel like it's like one of those things I always heard with people made fun of in movies, but I don't know the original movie it's from.
I'm not a big movie guy, but even then, I don't think I would have gotten a Fiddler on the Roof.
And I still don't
reference.
even know Fiddler on the Roof because I haven't seen that movie before.
So let's do a little matchmaking.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We're not millionaire matchmakers, but we're football matchmakers who actually will be millionaires.
I'm the Pete Davidson of flirting, okay?
He seems very good at it, right?
I mean, gosh.
Saturday Night Live guy, Ariana Grande, right?
Right.
No longer together, and now
moves to Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, that's a good run.
I mean, kind of a good run. And then I'm enjoying like some of like the pictures we're seeing on social media, like
they
one at the
become
hockey
memes.
game, right?
Right, because he and Kate Beckinsale were making out,
right,
at the game.
And then there was who was the guy that was sitting next to him?
I don't know, friend.
I think he's an actor.
He's another actor,
like that, right?
Yeah.
But why do you even say yes to going to that hockey game with those two? Like, why even? You know, you're going to be the third wheel in that one there. And there he is, like, my favorite meme out there has been the one where Kate Beckinsale's the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
The guy who's being ignored is Josh Rosen. And then Kate Beckinsale is Kyler Murray.
Pete Davidson, Pete Davidson's Kyler Murray and Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank you for straightening that out. I played football. I'm not always that smart, all right?
Yeah, there's some good memes out there. So, Pete Davidson, very good at flirting. But we're gonna help. This is what we do.
Good.
We're gonna match some free agents up
with
some teams, and we're gonna make a match made in heaven that we think would be a match made in heaven. I don't know if they're going to become reality, but we think they should become reality.
Yeah, well, there's like some reality twist here, but also just things we would like to see. And that's where we're going to have fun. So
why don't you go?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
All right, the first one, like one of the big free agents out there that did not get franchise tagged, but people put this guy in the class of, Jadeveon Clowney, Frank Clark, who both got franchised by the Houston Texans, the Seattle Seahawks. Trey Flowers, right?
Yeah.
Trey Flowers is one of those guys where we don't know a whole lot about because, first of all, New England doesn't let you know about any other players in general. They don't let their players wax poetically about other players on the roster. It's all part of the master scheme of Bill Belichick keeping free agents' prices down, right? If you're in New England and you start talking about the team in general on a press conference one day, and you start talking about, this guy's playing good and that play, like, you will get called out in the team meeting the next day. Like, Bill Belichick is famous for going, like, who anointed you spokesman of the team?
We have to cut him now. You talked him up too much, and now we have to
just worry about
him.
your job. Yeah. So that's why you never hear about New England players in this shape, form, or fashion or whatever it is. But Trey Flowers, I want to see him go to the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have a need at the defensive line position. Their new head coach just came from New England, right? Brian Flores. I think Trey Flowers, you always hear about coaches wanting to instill the new culture in a team or an organization. Well, I think that would start getting the New England way to catch on right away in Miami. Plus, it's always fun, at least for me, I think, to see guys have to go against their ex-teams and to be two times, right, in the division. That would add a little extra spice to the matchup altogether. Trey Flowers would probably be bitter at New England for not paying him the money he wants. They're going to want to win because they're rivals with New England, as is in Miami. And he's got a head coach who's going to want to teach, the guy who taught him everything. He's going to want to try to win football games that way, too. So that's one that jumps out to me right off the bat.
Outstanding player. I just always worried about any player that Bill Belichick doesn't want becoming a pumpkin. You just always worry about that.
No doubt. You wonder if it's the system, the way they coach, those things. That's totally a justifiable question.
I got one. Earl Thomas.
Oh, I like it.
Very contentious last year with the holdout, then the injury, and the unfortunate injury. I would like to see Earl Thomas stay west.
Yes. I think I know where you're going with this.
Go a little south.
Red gold.
A little red gold, maybe white in the cleats because you like the white look.
I do like. I'm trying to get Kyle Shanahan to pass that along to Jed York.
Team up with Richard Sherman.
Right.
Once again.
Right.
and you get to play your former team twice. Same thing with the Dolphins and Patriots.
Right.
Earl Thomas and the 49ers match made in heaven.
I like that. I'm with you all the way there.
You do like that
Yeah,
one?
I really do. I mean, I think, first of all, that's not crazy. First of all, even just from the football X's and O's standpoint, there's a need at that position for the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers run the Seattle defense schematically, so it makes sense there. Plus, I know what you're saying, too. I mean, we like watching rivalries, and you like to see a little hatred between teams who are competing against each other.
Makes it so much better.
It would make it so much better.
Yeah.
But him and Richard Sherman, Earl and Richard against Seattle twice a year, like we were just talking about with Trey Flowers, and they're going to be disgruntled that they weren't paid or respected enough in the renegotiation period. That, to me, makes great rivalries. Great rivalries have to have something personal that works there.
Yeah.
That's why, the first time the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers, it was like Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh, and they had the little beef in college that spilled over. But I'm with you there, and I think it makes actually a lot of sense for the 49ers to be in that market anyways.
Yeah, Richard Sherman is openly recruiting Earl Thomas to come over there. And it almost is crazier than even a WWE thing. This whole thing between the year. I mean, Richard Sherman was public enemy number one for the 49ers for so long. And then now he's a 49er. And now you could get Earl Thomas as well. I mean, it's almost like you couldn't write a script as convoluted as that, but it makes for some interesting
It does.
storylines.
It makes it. The NFC West, for me, is amazing right now. I mean, between the three young whippersnappers at coach, right? You got the all GQ NFC West. It's Shanahan, Kingsbury, and McVay.
You need to be attractive
with the old wise man and Pete Carroll. So it is cool that way. Okay, another one I'd like to see. I mean, let's be serious. LeVeon Bell, probably the top free agent on the market of everything he can do on the offensive side of the football. Running back / slot receiver, dependable. He's had one injury in his career. There's two teams that jump out to me where I would love to see. And of course, again, I think it has to play into the rivalry thing a little bit. I was going to say Ravens because I was that'd be cool if he went to Baltimore with the Lamar Jackson. But I think the one I really want to see even more than that, I want him to stay in state. I want him to go to Philadelphia. I think that would even be cooler to see that too. Pittsburgh having to deal with somebody in state, having to hear about LeVeon Bell going off for the team that's across the state in the other major city. And LeVeon Bell, I think, would really fit within that offense. The Philadelphia Eagles need somebody they can rely on at the running back position. I mean, last year was running back musical chairs for them. Injuries, people not performing as well. They were constantly trying to find the right match there. They have a pretty good offensive line there. You want to talk about taking hits off of Carson Wentz and making life easier on him?
Yeah,
a
keep
guy
him on
like
the field a
LeVeon
little bit
Bell.
more, yeah.
Right, and we know a Doug Peterson who comes from the Andy Reid School of Coaching, that they've had guys like this already with LaShawn McCoy back in the day in Philadelphia. I think they'd really know how to use a LeVeon Bell. That would be one that I would love to see really happen and go down.
That makes sense.
The rumors are pointing that is a possibility. That is
Philly?
The Philly is in the short list of the conversation of teams that are interested in LeVeon Bell.
I like just a personal standpoint. I think it would be super cool if he went to the Chiefs.
I
want to put every playmaker
with Patrick Mahomes.
Every playmaker in the NFL. I want to put him on the Chiefs.
Yeah,
right now.
I hear
and
that.
Just watch them go.
I hear that. I mean, if I wanted to get personal, I would want this guy to get him too, because they could use a running back.
Aaron
Rodgers, you're the greatest I've ever seen.
They make a pretty good duo. You do think maybe a younger quarterback that could need that. There are a lot of young quarterbacks out there.
Right.
4 drafted in the top 10 last year that could use that safety net of a LeVeon Bell. He can throw two-hand the ball.
That's why you hear the Jets in the conversation in reality too with LeVeon Bell. I mean, again, the ground game, a guy that can be, I'm Sam Darnold, nobody's open downfield. I can always feel good about throwing it underneath the LeVeon Bell, and he'll keep us in good situations. That makes sense.
I'm still worried about Lev Bell, though. I mean, 2017 wasn't great for Lev Bell. Then you sit out a whole 2018.
Yeah, I hear you.
Then you got to pay $50 million for him or more than that.
It's never easy playing, and I've made this point before, to Mike Florio on PFT too. You can be in shape all you want. Being in football shape is a whole nother animal altogether, because hey, you can go there and have a trainer pushing you and do all that. But until, you're on the field and, it's hurry up offense. And, oh, gosh, I got to run the ball between the tackles and get crushed and then get back in the huddle real quick and get back to the line of scrimmage. Now I got to run a pass route. And then it's back into the huddle. And, okay, now I got to pass protect. I mean, there is nothing that can get you ready for that working out. You can try as hard as you want, but football is one of those sports where you truly need to play it and be out there to get your body ready for it. Exactly right.
Game speed.
Right.
I got a quick one for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Landon Collins.
Okay.
And Chris Simms. I want to get you guys together.
You're a jerk.
You're a jerk. Get you on better terms.
Right.
Because I heard that you placed Landon Collins at the 20th best safety?
I said that you could make the argument that he's in that conversation.
And you did.
I did. Well, listen, again, and this is where my life becomes hard because, I've been around Landon Collins. I really like him, the person. And I like him when he's at his best, at football. 2016, he was in the conversation for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He was off the charts good, but 2017 was really not good. 2018 last year was just it wasn't great. In a day and age where safeties are asked to cover and be so much a part of the pass game and speed and things like that, that's where Landon Collins hurts a little bit, in my opinion. So, hey, my big thing is, maybe I know I said something like he's arguably the 18th best safety in football. There's 64 safeties, first of all, in football, so let's keep that in mind.
You're still above average.
Yes, it's just way above average. And I understand that a lot of that is, subject to conversation. But the one thing I know is not subject to conversation is he's not a huge difference maker the last 2 years on the football field.
Right.
He is not in the upper echelons of safeties. That is where I will certainly draw a line and argue with whoever wants to argue with me. He is not in the class of Devin McCourty, Derwin James, Tony Jefferson, Jamal Adams, LaMarcus Joyner, Earl Thomas, Harrison Smith, just to name a few right there. I think that would go, people go, ooh, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. So that's why I think the Giants didn't franchise tag him. I think that's why you're seeing teams. And I will be interested to see where he lands and gets paid altogether when all said and done.
Just 25.
Thanks for bringing that up, though. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to get you guys back together and back on good terms once again. It is interesting, and I was reading something on Pro Football Focus about Landon Collins, is that they feel like there's an opportunity for him to be more elite as a linebacker, playing more closer to the line of scrimmage.
I think that's exactly probably part of the problem, too. Exactly right. Or part of the problem, or how to use him. The Giants, they use him at the line of scrimmage a whole lot, but still more in a safety role. But yes, people Landon Collins' size this day and age is different than when we grew up, where middle linebackers were 6'2" and 250 or 245 pounds. It's more of a speed game about that now. I mean, look at the Los Angeles Rams. Mark Barron was their one middle linebacker who was 225 pounds. Corey Littleton was their other middle linebacker who was 222 pounds. So it was predicated on speed and their ability to be able to fly around the field. Hey, Ryan Shazier, he was one of the best linebackers in football before the neck injury. It was all about speed for him. He had to eat extra food to be 222 pounds.
Weight gain.
So it's a different mold of player.
Yeah,
right. It's a different mold of player they're looking at that position than what maybe we traditionally grew up in that era.
That is crazy. I mean, I'm 185. I could have played offensive tackle in the 1970s.
Oh, I get this. Well, I get this all the time with people I met so and so. I met Telvin Smith on the Jaguars. He's not that big. Yeah, okay, I know. Yeah, Telvin Smith is 6'2", 220 pounds. But it's not about the size. It's about the ability to apply force. And that's where I want to go yeah, okay, that's cool. I know you think you look at him and you go, I can match up with that guy. But, if you went in the weight room and then you saw a guy like Telvin Smith move weights, you'd go, oh, wait, I get it now. Whoa. Yeah. He can squat 500 pounds and he's 220 pounds and he can bench 450. And that's, people forget that aspect of it too. It's about the ability to apply force is what makes those guys
special. You're on the field in pads with them and they're applying force on you. Then you remember. Or you're on the, this is why I don't play football. It's more than just about height and weight.
Exactly right.
It was that force and now I can't think straight.
Yeah. You got any more? Oh, where's it my turn?
You go.
All right, this is probably be my last one too.
Okay.
C.J. Mosley, right? C.J. Mosley, one of the better middle linebackers in all of football. Baltimore Ravens. Again, probably a guy that's asking for a little too much money in general, but a guy that can play all three downs. He's a little bit more along the traditional lines of linebackers like we've talked about. He's 238, 240 pounds, went to Alabama, was in a 3-4 scheme there. Baltimore likes their middle linebackers a little bigger. But you know who needs a middle linebacker really bad?
Who's that?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
And that is one I would love to see happen. Pittsburgh's not in the greatest, they're not in the greatest shape as far as the cap is concerned. But, man, can you imagine that? I mean, here we go, C.J. Mosley, the rivalry between the Steelers and Ravens, as is already. They're both going to be fighting for playoff spots once again this year. I'd be shocked if they're not.
Right.
And if C.J. Mosley's on the other side, again, there is a true need for that for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Can they find enough cash and figure out how to make that work? It would be awesome. But either way, again, it would add to the rivalry, which I would love to see in general.
I am all about. I've always said sports is better when you hate your opponent.
Oh, that's why
it's way better. Or the evil empire, anything. When you hate them, sports is way better.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's what we miss this day and age, as compared to like the 80s and 90s when there was no salary cap. I always say, like, those were the greatest times in football, the rivalries there, because it was personal.
Yeah.
Their teams weren't changing. My dad had to play Joe Montana every year for 6 years straight.
And he hated Joe Montana.
Well, and he hated the whole damn team.
He did?
Well, yeah, because they were winning Super Bowls, and the Giants were only winning one every now and then or whatever. So it was personal. When my father played the Philadelphia Eagles in the 80s, every year it was Reggie White and Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons.
I can see not liking Reggie White as a quarterback.
Yeah. But I do think that's what we miss this day and age with free agency and the salary cap and everything. Teams, players, they're moving around so much that it's not as much personal as it was back in the old days, and that's what's different about it.
I got one more.
Yeah?
Roger Saffold, the guard. Jets rumored in on him.
Yeah, okay.
If I was to be a matchmaker,
Yeah.
get him back together with his ex.
Oh, that's so
Back with the
cute of
Rams.
you. Oh,
Yep. Get
that's
'em
so
back
cute.
together.
You want to see them reunite.
Great
One more
offensive
time.
line, Super Bowl team. You got a good thing going. You're protecting a young quarterback. Keep it going.
Yeah, I get that. And they have some other issues on their offensive line. I mean, as we saw during the end of the season, it wasn't perfect. And Saffold is certainly, if not their best offensive lineman altogether. So that's cute of you, though, that it just keeps them together. That's very nice.
That was cute.
Yeah.
That was a cute talk.
Good job.
It is that time in the podcast where we get to welcome in a Super Bowl winning player and coach, all-around good guy, star of Football Night in America.
Keep it going. He was in that awesome commercial with Rodney that I can't remember this year.
National inspiration, author.
Right. I mean, he's a star. He's the man.
Tony Dungy. Also, we're going to get to the football stuff, Tony, but first, he's also named the Grand Marshal for IndyCar season opener at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. I got to ask you first, what goes into being the Grand Marshal of an IndyCar race?
Well, first of all, you welcome everybody. You ask the drivers to start their engines, and then the difficult part for me is going to be getting in the pace car with Mario Andretti and letting him drive me around at about 180 miles an hour. So we'll see.
Wow. Coach, you don't seem like the kind of guy that's dabbled in the 180 mile per hour car driving thing before. So you're going to be holding on for dear life with this one?
Absolutely will, Chris. That was one of my points I always made to my team when I put up the 5 things at the beginning of training camp that can get you in trouble. And I'd always have number 2 was going over 70 miles an hour.
So 180 would qualify.
This would be new territory for me.
180 would qualify. Of course, you've been a fan of IndyCar for a while. Your days in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis 500, which will be seen on NBC this year for the first time. So you've been a fan of it. So I wonder, have you ever done the gentleman start your engines before, or will this be the first time?
This will be the first time for me. I've actually was out at the racetrack many times up in Indianapolis, but never there for the actual race. And it's going to be pretty exciting to get them off to that start.
Well, we were wondering, because I know you're a guy that practices and is a professional. Like, Let me hear it. Let me hear. How are you going to deliver this? Are you practicing in front of the mirror right now about different ways how to deliver? Gentlemen, start with your options.
I have, and actually, it's not. I've found out now. It's no longer gentlemen. It's drivers, start your engine.
Oh, there's a little sneak peek of what we're going to get.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that. And now you do mention getting around the pace car, and people think, you're in a pace car. Yeah, that's safe. That's the safest place to be. But you did text one of our producers, Matt Casey.
Yep.
And you sent him a text that said the pace car crashes happen even to the best of drivers. So you're even in danger in the pace car.
Yeah, I had to do a little research. There have been 3 that I saw anyway.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to tell Mario I'm trusting him. I'm putting my life in his hands, but he's got to be on point.
Well, and towards the end of the season with Football Night in America, there was a driving simulator NASCAR type of thing here in the building, and I'm good thing they're not letting Coach drive because there was a few accidents in that simulator.
As easy as it looks. Yeah, people say, hey, those guys aren't athletes. I found out you have to be an athlete to keep that car going straight.
All right, Coach. So let's get into some football topics. There's a few things that have gone on this week that I'm dying to kind of get your take. The first one, of course, the elephant in the room, the Kyler Murray situation, the number 1 draft pick. Will that happen? Arizona Cardinals, who took a quarterback at number 10 last year. What do you think about all this talk right now as far as this conversation is concerned?
I go back to Cliff Kingsbury's comments last year, and he feeling like Kyler Murray was sensational. And, boy, this is the guy, and if I had a chance to get him, I'd get him. To me, if you feel that way about a quarterback, you got to go get him.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen otherwise. We were in Pittsburgh. I was a young coach, and we had Terry Bradshaw. So we passed on Dan Marino.
Right.
Feeling like, hey, we've got Bradshaw, we're okay. For 25 years until Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers were looking for that franchise quarterback. And we had him right there, and we passed him. So if you really think Kyler Murray is legit and he's the guy and he's as good as you talk about him being, to me, you have to get him.
Yeah, and then you figure out everything else after that. You figure out what to do with Josh Rosen.
Exactly.
Having 2 good quarterbacks, not necessarily a bad problem.
Jimmy Johnson did it, and it made their franchise. He had Steve Walsh. They drafted Troy Aikman. They ended up trading Steve Walsh, getting some more picks that turned out to be good players. And when that franchise guy comes, you got to take him.
Yeah, I'm all with you there, Coach. For me, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. Your point about you can't pass up a guy if you truly deem him as a special. I would also just like to get I think he is special. I think he is that guy. I'm with you. I think the Arizona Cardinals should take him at number 1 as far as that. Have you got a chance to study him or look at him? Or even if not, when you watch TV, what jumped out to you about Kyler Murray and his game?
Just the excitement, the energy level, the playmaking ability, and you watch him win games. I saw Russell Wilson do that. I saw Russell Wilson play in the Rose Bowl against my son's team in Oregon, and you say, this guy is special. And some people just have that. Baker Mayfield, we saw that all last year in those games. Just bringing that kind of indescribable talent. And I think that's what Murray has. I had to laugh at the Combine. It took me back to my old mentor, Chuck Noll, where people all of a sudden, he's 5'10 and a half, so maybe he can do it now. Have you been watching tape all year?
Right.
Whether he's 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", this guy makes plays. And to me, that's what the quarterback position is all about.
Yeah, they're not real short in college either. They have tall players.
Exactly. I mean, he's
college.
Playing with a professional offensive lineman at Oklahoma, and yes, there are professional defensive linemen in Big 12. I think that's a very valid point. Definitely.
The question with Kyler was the height and the weight, right? And he comes in at 5'10". You're right, Tony. It's like, everything's fine now. He's at 5'10". He's not the most outgoing guy in the world, and sometimes you think the prototypical quarterback leader, Baker Mayfield last year, has got a little bit of an edge, more of a leader type, a more prototypical leader. Okay, sure. In what we've seen from Kyler Murray, haven't necessarily seen that in some of the interviews that we've seen. Then you get reports out there, who knows how accurate they are from anonymous sources on how he did in these interviews. As a head coach, how much do you look at that part of it, Tony, as you want your quarterback to be a leader of men? Not saying he hasn't done that in Oklahoma, but there are just questions on how well he can do that at the next level.
Yeah. And to me, that's what the whole thing is all about in the combine, especially for quarterbacks. If you're thinking about a guy, you're trying to be around him and see how he is, how he communicates with everybody. But that whole personality thing can be overblown. Marcus Mariota, as I said, my son Eric played with him. I was around Marcus for 3 years. Very quiet, but exceptional leader, and a guy who's going to his players are going to go to war for him. So that whole thing about being outgoing and all of that and what the public sees, that can be overblown.
Coach, let's switch gears to a new subject with Antonio Brown. Of course, that conversation and the Pittsburgh Steelers wanting to trade him and how it all unfolds. He hasn't exactly been a choir boy as of lately with some of the Instagram videos and all that. I would just like to get your take just from a coaching standpoint. I guess, one, would you want a guy like Antonio Brown if you were the head coach of a team that was maybe interested in trading for a wide receiver? And two, what kind of head coach do you think it takes to be able to handle an Antonio Brown and maybe some of the antics you have to deal with?
Well, it's different than me, and I guess my thing, I know Mike Tomlin a little bit. If you can't play for Mike Tomlin,
yes,
or if you can't play for Andy Reid, I used to say that all the time too. I need to watch out. I'm not sure you can play for me. And, Antonio Brown's a great player, tremendous receiver. He's going to bring energy and excitement. But I'm always leery. I was always leery when I was the head coach of great players who all of a sudden their team doesn't want them. They can't get along with their team. Why is it going to be different when you come to me? Now, sometimes it's just strictly money, and guys are upset about money, and you say, okay, we give him a better contract, he's going to be fine. But with Brown, it doesn't seem to be money. It seems to be different things. I'd be concerned.
Yeah, and what you have to give up to get him as well, and wondering if when he comes over to your team, if he's all of a sudden changing his tune, and if he is going to be that team player that you haven't seen. There are different pressures on players now. I mean, some of this has come out because Antonio Brown has done the media tour. There's more media now. There's social media now, and so there are just more avenues to share your deep thoughts on your team, and a lot of times that's rewarded on social media. You get the likes, you get the retweets. You are a topic of conversation for a whole week. Probably good for Antonio Brown's brand that we're talking about him this long, but maybe not for the player. Do you think it's just different for the player now with the media landscape, Tony, than maybe it was even 5-10 years ago?
It certainly is different, but I don't think there's a coach in the NFL that doesn't preach that. Hey, we understand the landscape is different, but for us to win, we still have to follow certain parameters. We still got to keep this a team game, and you've got to do that. And so it's not like that hasn't been preached to him. I just think, boy, you better be careful when you bring that into your locker room.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, Coach. I mean, I have the same feeling. Your point about Mike Tomlin or Andy Reid. I mean, I know, Mike, I was down in Tampa Bay when you left to become the Indianapolis head coach. I was down there and know Mike Tomlin, and he's got some of the best people skills I've ever seen. So you're right. I mean, if that doesn't work with him, I don't know who it will work with. It is. It's the buyer beware.
Good luck.
Right,
Good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, you had no, personalities like that when you were with the Indianapolis Colts. But, okay, I mean, I know I spent 1 year with one of those personalities that you were with in Tampa Bay, Warren Sapp. How do you draw the line in the sand to go, okay, I know you're awesome, you're a good player and everything, but I'm not going to let you, run amok with being late for meetings and things like that. How does a head coach deal with a personality like that with a guy that might be, a little different than the rest?
And there are all kinds of players like that. And for the most part, you talk about winning. Hey, here's what we've got to do to win. Here's what I need you to do. Here's the things you can't do. And it doesn't matter how good a player you are. If you can't do the things we need and you're going to do the things that hurt us, we just can't allow that. And so that's the way I always proceeded. And everybody we had, whether it's Warren, Keyshawn, anybody that you might think was a little difficult, they all bought into that, and it was never a problem. Not like it's been there in Pittsburgh this last year.
Yeah, important to get the guys on the team already to buy into it, and important at this time where you're adding people to your family that you're assessing the draft prospects. You're assessing free agency about to really go into full gear coming up here in just a few days. The flirting process will begin, and Coach, I'm curious on how you dealt with free agency. And actually, there was something very interesting that Chris, when he was talking to Kyle Shanahan, about the order of free agency and the draft.
Sure.
Kyle thought it makes it more difficult. He wishes that they could do the draft right now, get some of these young players, and then go out and try to fill in the holes with free agency, kind of reversing the way it has been done so far. Tony, what do you think of that thought? Would it be easier on coaches and teams if you could just draft the kids now and then fill in the gaps later with free agents?
It would be better, no question about it. It would be better for the team because then you know what you really need, what you aren't able to get in the draft. I was always one, I preferred the draft over free agents. I wanted to get young guys and develop them. My feeling was always if a guy was really that good and going to be good for you, his team probably isn't going to let him go. Now, there's some exceptions to that. And when we were good in Indianapolis, when we were good in Tampa, you can't pay everybody.
Right.
So sometimes it does just come down to money. And, you know, we lost guys like David Thornton and Cato June who were tremendous team players, and we just said, hey, we'd love to pay you. We can't afford you. Somebody's going to pay you more than we can. But that superstar who just, you know, his team lets him go, and all of a sudden he's going to be better for you. I was always buyer beware on that one, too.
Yeah, I understand that. You know, there's the flirting period that's coming about, like we were just talking about. You know, I'm just interested, when it did come to free agency, Did you know who was going to be signed even before it started? I mean that for your own team, whether it be the Indianapolis Colts or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If free agency was, say, 5 days away, did you know there was already a semi-deal in place or at least a wink-wink and a handshake behind closed doors that there was a good chance you might get a certain player as a head coach of an NFL football team?
We never did. You'd get guys who are interested in coming to you, but it generally came down to money. And in Tampa and Indy, we basically sat out that first week of free agency, the big crazy contracts, and then we kind of picked up on the second wave.
Gotcha.
But you know, you would hear about guys that, hey, they want to come to you because they want to play in your system. Hey, let's try to get that done. But yeah, we didn't have those huge mega deals that all of a sudden we're going to break on the first day.
Yeah, it's funny hearing Coach talk about the dilemma for every team on free agents because you figure the best ones are not going to be free agents.
Yeah, right.
So you're
like
not going to get a
yeah.
chance at them.
Yep.
And then the ones who they do let become free agents, all of a sudden that's a red flag. You go, why'd they let him get away? Maybe we don't want him either. And it can come on the trade front as well. You got a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. for the Giants who they just locked up last year to a lucrative deal, and now you hear the rumors about him possibly being on the trade front. Don't quite know about the future plans for the Giants. If you were another coach or another GM that heard that from the Giants, would that be another red flag of why is this name perhaps being floated out there?
That was always my question when our personnel people would come to me with, hey, we got a chance to get this great player. Why are they sending him to us? Why are they trying to help our team be better?
Right.
And, you know, that's the question. Usually, if it's too good to be true, it usually is.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about something that really was like maybe too good to be true, okay?
What's that?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a somewhat relevant this week. It's the 3-year anniversary since Peyton Manning retired, okay?
Oh.
So I've never really asked Coach these kind of questions, and I am a fan first. I played football. I love following it. But, Coach, so you're in Indianapolis. You get there. Peyton Manning's the quarterback. Give us a story or the moment when you realized, like, holy cow, this guy is something different. I've never been around anything like this. He's special. Is there that moment that jumps out about coaching Peyton Manning back in those days?
Well, the first day I got there, he came in after the press conference, just said hello, said, hey, I want to be coached. I want to win. Whatever we need to do to make me the best I can be and make our team the best it can be, I'm all for it. And then about 2 weeks later, he came in with a yellow legal pad, about 7 pages of things, and he put it on my desk. He said, these are the things I want to get better at. This is what I plan to work on this off season, and you need to help me with these. And that's when I said, wow, we've got something special here.
Wow.
The preparation just always jumped out. I mean, I always envisioned him like coming over to the sidelines and timeouts, and like, you know, usually the quarterback sits there and listens to the offensive coordinator and the head coach and like, hey, what do you want to do? I always envisioned him like just spitting out and blurting out plays he wanted to do. I don't want him to say like he was being disrespectful by like telling you guys, but just he had the nickname the Sheriff for a reason. Was he like that where he came over and kind of like was semi a coach on the field in that manner?
He was, Chris, but he was always into the game plans, and he always, you know, he was doing that based on what he had read and what he was seeing. So it wasn't ever, you know, I want to do this. It was, hey, here's where we are. This is what we're talking about. And he was just totally prepared.
Right.
Totally prepared. So you always felt good about the suggestions that he made.
And it could have gone, Tony, I was listening to an interview that you did, and it could have gone either way. I mean, it seems like Peyton Manning from the get-go was destined to be a great quarterback, top draft pick. But I heard you talking about how you see some of the same things with Jameis Winston here, how early on, maybe you're not getting the success, and if you're not getting the success early on, sometimes you wonder, is that ever going to happen?
Yeah.
It could go either way. You see some of the same things with Jameis Winston that maybe you saw Peyton Manning dealing with early on.
Well, yeah, and he just has to settle down and trust his coaches and his defense and everything, not try to win. And then Peyton went through that he's trying to win every game himself and make every single play. And I think that's a little bit of what's happening with Jameis, and I think that's what Bruce Arians is going to talk to him about.
Yeah. All right, Coach, we're getting towards the end. Last question here, really, before unless Ahmed got something else you want to bring in.
Maybe.
But this is for you and me. First of all, I want to make sure we're on good terms because I have been known to come into the NBC production meetings on Sunday afternoon, and Tony's kids are there some days. Some weeks he brings them up.
That's good.
And I come in and say bad words at times. I say four-letter words.
Oh, no.
So I just want to make sure, Coach, none of those are creeping into the household at the Dungy house, are they? I mean, I'm not in trouble. I'm not in the doghouse or anything, am I?
No, you're good. You're good. But my son Justin does ask about you. How's Mr. Chris doing? And, you know, how can we help him?
Yeah, he needs some help.
Justin's my buddy, man. He's a lefty like me, too. I've seen his jump shot. He's got a smooth jump shot. But I am interested, did you always not swear? How did that come about? I know I'm from New Jersey. I grew up in a household where my father did swear a little, and that's where I learned it from. Sorry, Dad, but But how did you kind of become that guy who doesn't swear or say those bad words that I say so much?
I think just matured as a Christian, Chris. I was just like you, competitive and young and in the locker room and the whole thing growing up. I just, as I got older, I just felt like that wasn't the best way for me to communicate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure.
You still have time. No, you still have time.
I do. I still have time. No. You can fix me, Coach. There's hope for me yet.
We've lost him. No, we've lost him. Well, Tony, keeping it clean all the time, even going 180 miles an hour in the pace car.
Yep. Good luck with that.
Race in St. Pete. Yeah. Good luck with that. We'll be listening for your Grand Marshal duties, and thanks for stopping by the podcast, Tony.
Hey, I appreciate it. Good to be with you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Be good, man.
All righty. See you.
See ya.
Tony Dungy, the great Tony Dungy. I love hearing him talk. It almost puts me at ease.
Oh.
I feel more confident about myself when I can hear Tony talk.
He's like an amazing human being. To the point where, like we were just talking about with the cursing, right?
Yes.
I like to curse, and I'm really not scared to curse in any setting as long as it doesn't get me fired. That's the only thing that doesn't make me curse too many times here or on TV. But when I walk into the room on Sunday and we're all in this big screening room to watch all the games because we're going to do Football Night in America later, I usually come in blurting out, "What's up, right?"
Okay.
And he's the
no matter who's there.
No matter who's there. But Tony Dungy is actually creeping into my game a little bit. Like
you go in there and you look, you survey the room, and you say, "Who am I
Who am I
Who's in
saying here? And I still
You go-
say it. I still go, but then I
So you don't
then
stop.
I apply, sorry, coach. And usually gets a laugh from the room. But I started to feel guilty with Tony and his kids where I was like, oh, damn, I am truly a bad influence.
So you're going to say it no matter what. It's just a matter of if you're going to have to apologize.
Yeah,
later
if
on.
I'm going to
Right,
apologize or how guilty am I going to feel. He's not going to make me feel guilty enough to where I'm going to stop. I'll say that, bud.
Tony Dungy, great to catch up with him.
Yep.
Wish him luck at the IndyCar race to kick off the season for NBCSN. So you came out with your top 8 draft prospects after what you saw at the Combine, along with game tape and everything in the back. So you have your top 8. We have some reaction.
Oh, good. Here we go.
Guys out there listening and watching, tweet it in.
I'm always in for reaction, guys. I mean, first of all, I know I'm not perfect, and I want to have these conversations this is what this podcast is for. So, always feel free to react, talk, conversate with us on these type of subjects. I welcome it. I welcome the questions, no matter how dumb or smart they might be. I understand them, and I'm always down to talk a little ball and talk quarterback.
And I would say keep it clean, but obviously that doesn't.
That doesn't apply to this.
NYD said, how is Dwayne Haskins not number 1? And then Judge to Stanton said this, LOL, there's no debate for Locke being better than Haskins. He just isn't.
Well, okay, so that's a great statement, but we need a little.
Well, here's how he backed it up. He goes,
sure.
I think Haskins has way more talent and upside, dominated against tougher competition, can read progressions, and plays like nobody's business. Locke has the better arm, though.
Locke has a better arm. Locke was on the lesser team as compared to Ohio State, right? Dwayne Haskins. Listen, this is very close. If there's a part of my rankings that I might change, it's these 2 to 3. It's Locke and Haskins. I thought it was neck and neck. I thought one of the things that gave the advantage to Locke, in my opinion, in a close race is experience, and I do think he's a hair of a more natural thrower of the football. Now, Haskins' arm is top-notch. I'm saying that both of these guys are top 10 picks, so this is not negative on any of them. If you had to make me determine which one I'd want, I would go with Drew Lock at this point. A lot of things I like about Haskins, certainly. I don't think he's quite as good as a pure passer as Drew Lock, and he's not as good an athlete as Drew Lock. I think that's both of those things. Now, they're both amazing in the pocket. They're both fearless with people around them. I understand the optics of stats and the record are going to look a little bit better for Ohio State, but you can't say that he played against tougher competition. I mean, the SEC is the king. There's no denying that. The Big Ten has become really good here the last few years, certainly.
But even they were down a little bit. I mean, Michigan was good, but they blew Michigan out.
Exactly right. And again, we're being nitpicky here. It's a really close one. I am a big fan of Dwayne Haskins. Like he could be the quarterback of my football team, certainly. I do think he's a hair more raw, and the fact that this was just his first year playing, that's why I think a place like the New York Giants would fit for him. He could sit behind Eli Manning for a year before he kind of gets going. So go ahead.
But how was his board work? That's what we got the board work.
We'll check in with Charlie.
I never knew. Was that a term people call it, board work?
Yeah.
That's what the term, they go, hey, how's your board work?
Well, that's certainly, what's he like on the board? It's just a simple phrase of being like, how is he as a student of the game?
Now every year is going to be like, how's his board work?
Yeah. No, they've been saying it. They've been saying it. I mean, that's been like an NFL phrase for a long time.
Now I'm going to be saying it every year.
Good.
We have an omission. We have a couple people that thought you omitted a worthy quarterback for your top 8.
Go ahead.
North Dakota State.
Yes.
Easton Stick.
He is. He might be a guy that I need to get in there. I just started in on him, so I kind of went with the big names at first, the guys that you heard about most commonly talked about as far as NFL terms. So I know he's on my radar, and when we get into talking to quarterbacks again here in the next few weeks, he might be in that top. He's top 6, top 8, whatever it may be. I haven't done my deep dive there on him yet, so please bear with me on that one. But no, TV scouting.
We're not giving you a pass.
Yeah, no, I don't want any pass.
You
but
made
he
your
is
list.
a guy.
He was not on it. We're not giving you a pass.
All these other draft guys get to change it around like 9 million times.
That is true.
I promise you, I won't be changing mine a whole lot. Might be a tinker here or there, but I did my due diligence and really studied these 8 guys hard. I got to see a little more on Nick Easton before I throw him in there. I just don't know enough about him yet. But I know he's on my radar to be in that conversation.
Incomplete. Not enough information yet.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything anything where I'm not fully prepared to talk about it.
This is one thing I thought of too, and I did think you might be a little low on this one quarterback who a lot of people are higher on.
How dare you question me?
No,
we just got to know me. What the hell?
And there are some people who think he's a first rounder. You had him as number 8, I believe, on your list. Will Greer.
Yes.
You got Steve Bryan, Life After Brady, talking about Greer.
Yep.
He should, you're too low on Greer. You're sleeping on Greer. And Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay said swap Finley and Greer. The rest of the list is pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and I'm not.
You are low on Greer.
I know I'm low on Greer, but I just go with what the film says to me. I don't sit here and come out with preconceived notions and go, oh, well, you know, I saw this guy make a play on the highlight show back in October, so I'm already set. He's number 4 in my rankings.
Yeah.
No, you know, I try to go into it with a clean slate. I really, to use a phrase that my dad used on the podcast on Wednesday, you know, I almost go in trying to not like the guy, right? Prove to me how good you are. I almost going in as a hater. I think that's the best way at times.
You are kind of a hater.
I try to be a hater to start, at least, so I'm on a blank slate. And Greer, I know that his yards and numbers are going to look better than Finley, but I would welcome those guys if they ever came into NBC Sports here and wanted to watch film with me. We would get through the first game of watching each, and they would go, oh, I get it. You're right. Ryan Finley is clearly the more talented guy. Finley's the most accurate thrower in the whole draft. He's more accurate than any of even the big 3. Now, his arm is not as powerful as Haskins, Locke, or Murray.
Yeah.
He's not as athletic. He's close to athletic. But Finley was my pleasant surprise when I broke him down. I did not think I was going to be making him number 4. Great decision maker, didn't have big-time talent around him. I thought he threw the ball into more tight windows with success than any of the other quarterbacks out there. He had all the other things, too, when you hear about timing and rhythm, and you go, well, what the hell does that really mean? I mean, I'm throwing a 10-yard out to the right, and I'm going to get hit before the receiver makes the break, so I don't know exactly where he's going to be, so I'm going to put the ball in a spot where I think he's going to be, and he was on the money with those type of things, let alone being a better athlete than I probably gave him credit for going into it.
All right, we do have I do want to give you one compliment.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Tom Siegel.
Yep.
The first reasonable ranking of Daniel Jones that I have seen all year. Another, you're a hater. You were a little lower on Jones than other people.
Well, other people, though, again, I'm not trying to hate on other people, but, sometimes in the world we're in right now, other people consist of, Joe Blow, the radio host, where I want to go, I don't know if he's held a football before, but we're going to listen to him.
Ahmed Fareed, who has held a football before at Sparta High School and Sparta, Michigan.
So sometimes I'm going to use a famous, sometimes unqualified people make qualifying statements in this business.
Yeah.
And that becomes a narrative where I want to go, well, who started this narrative? I always go back to like Matt Barkley. Man, back in the day, gosh, I was watching every highlight show ever, and they were telling me Matt Barkley was the number 1 pick in the draft. Just forget about it. And then I get it, and then I get turned on the film and I go, what the hell? And I go, oh yeah, that's right. The people that were telling me he was the number 1 pick in the draft have no business talking about that subject.
They had a degree from Syracuse University in broadcast journalism.
Yes.
So they went to school for 4 years and worked very hard.
Way to stick up for your orange man. That's very well.
To have that opinion on
yes,
Matt
but
Barkley.
Daniel Jones does a lot of good things.
Well, I thought it was weird with Daniel, and he's got, obviously, had some success at Duke.
Yeah.
When he was throwing the deep ball at the combine, it was almost like he would take a couple crow hop steps up towards the line of scrimmage. I mean, I'm sure you talked about that.
Look at you. No, I don't think I did, but look at you being all observant
but
and
shit. But it seemed like he was
doing unrealistic things.
Kind of,
right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to hitch up and run into my center as I'm throwing the ball like this. This is not center fielder in baseball.
Right.
This is quarterback. More than not, you're going to have to throw that ball without even being able to take that huge hitch-up step. You're going to have to throw it and go, damn, he's open 50 yards downfield, but I'm going to have to kind of just throw it off my back foot and launch it up there. That's what you have to do. That's the things he cannot do. And again, I never like not, talking negatively about, kids or young men who are trying to make their way, but I'm paid to evaluate these guys. Daniel Jones plays the position correctly. He certainly has this David Cutcliffe schooling around him. He's run a lot of pro-style schemes that works in his benefit. But when it comes to evaluating him, it just, okay, I'm not going to sit here and go, whoa, Look at that. He threw the 4-yard slant to the guy 4 feet in front of him.
You're calling him a little bit of a system
guy is what I'm calling. And to be talked about in the first round or an elite quarterback, you know, the system guy just doesn't get it done. You know, you look at guys, hey, let's look at the top guys that came out in the draft the last few years, right? I mean, Baker Mayfield. Okay, yeah, we know he can do things when the system puts it on a silver platter for him.
Right.
But he does it too when all of a sudden the right tackle falls down. He's got pressure, or nobody's open, and he scrambles around and makes this unbelievable throw. That's life in the NFL. That's why Patrick Mahomes is who he is. That's why Aaron Rodgers is who he is. That's why Tom Brady is who he is. It might not be as sexy as those other guys, but Brady will subtly slide in the pocket and then subtly slide somewhere else. And you go, damn, he's slow as hell, but nobody can get a hand on him.
Yeah.
And then he throws a strike down the field. And that's what football is all about. You're going to very rarely be throwing from this perfect pocket consistently all game long.
Please keep those coming, because that was good.
Yeah, it was
I feel
good.
like there were a couple that
Thanks.
were complimentary in there.
Thank you.
I don't know why we picked those out.
Yeah.
We should have deleted those. We should have immediately deleted those. So, yeah, keep them coming, all the comments on what Chris says. Crazy or not, we want to hear what you
Crazy or not, and crazy I am, so we know that. But one thing that, you know, if you're just listening to me the first time, the one thing you can count on is I'm going to work and do my homework. And
there's a reason why you say what you're saying.
There definitely is. I'm not sitting here trying to get, you know, clicks or likes or anything like that.
Although it would be nice if you guys want to click or like the podcast, please feel free to do
the
that.
subscribe button. That is great. It would be good. But yes, I'm trying to do this true to football and be NBC Sports football GM. That's what I try to look at myself as.
So far so good. So I really can't wait to hear you've dove into the quarterbacks at the combine and some of the free agent quarterbacks. I want to hear what your thoughts on some of the other positions.
We'll get
earlier
into
today.
it.
So
yep.
We had a lot of time, although free agency goes rather quickly.
It does.
I've covered a lot of baseball over the past few years, and free agency does not move as quickly in baseball, and certainly not this past year. But football, it's going to be, where do you think they're going to go? And they're gone.
Yeah, I mean,
over.
The big stars are gone. You're right. In the first 6 hours of free agency, it seems like.
But I don't want to let you go.
Yeah.
Without asking you a couple things non-football.
Okay.
Because at Syracuse we learned all the sports.
Right.
We do football, basketball, baseball.
Such well-rounded individuals.
We try to do that.
Are.
Lacrosse, even very good lacrosse program over there at Syracuse. Basketball, huge basketball program with Jim Boeheim over there. LeBron James.
Oh, baby.
Here's trending topic. This is the trending topic portion of the show.
Yeah.
Just passed Michael Jordan on the all-time career points list. He's up to 4 now, still behind Kobe, but he's passed the great Michael Jordan. I don't want to have the debate who is better, Jordan or LeBron, because I'm hearing that people have had that debate already.
Oh, is that right?
People have gone over that before.
I mean, Jordan's better. I mean, are you in that camp?
No, I didn't like Michael Jordan. I was not a Michael Jordan. I grew up in Michigan, and so we were
because he crapped on your Pistons all the time? Is that why you didn't like it?
No, Pistons had him with
early.
Dumars and Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer and Rick Horn and Vinnie Johnson, the microwave.
Yeah.
We had his number.
Yes.
And then things changed.
Yes. You were part of developing his greatness.
That was that was where he had to struggle before he became Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I never liked Michael Jordan. But here's the crazy thing when I think about Michael Jordan, and we've been talking about it, and I'm 39 years old, and so I watched him play. His last year in Chicago, his last great year when he was still great, was 1998.
Yeah.
So, and we were talking about how are you going to explain to your kids, like, oh, the kids are going to say, oh, who is better, Jordan or LeBron? Jordan or LeBron? My kids aren't going to care because it's so. I mean, if you're 20, 21 years, if you're in college right now, you didn't see Michael Jordan as Michael Jordan in Chicago.
Yeah, I know.
And it's kind of the same way when I, hear people talk, my uncles and father talk about Elgin Baylor and Oscar Roberts. It's interesting to hear those conversations.
Right.
But it doesn't resonate with me the way the guys that I saw with my own eyes. It's just crazy to me that it's 20 years since Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan.
Yeah, well, his sneakers are still popular.
That's
so they're
true.
part of the young pop culture, millennials, all of that, right? I mean, so that's what keeps him extremely relevant. He owns a basketball team, so he's still out there in that, in that forum as far as being involved in the NBA. Michael Jordan's the greatest player I've ever seen. He's the first, really, in my opinion, what I would also say, I would say to my kids, if that's what we're saying, or grandkids, I'd go, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. And really, he was the first, merchandise superstar of the world, right?
For sure.
I mean, him and Mars Blackman, Spike Lee, and those commercials, nobody hasn't seen anything like that.
Yep.
So, Michael Jordan is absolutely the man as far as it's concerned to me. And not only, like, was it Air Jordan? Oh, grandkids, you should have saw him dunk. He wasn't much taller than me, Grandpa Chris, but he could jump a whole lot higher. I mean, those are the things I would be saying, like, truly got the nickname Air Jordan, and the NBA like questioned whether the air in his shoes was like making him jump higher. Remember? I mean, that was a debate.
Yeah, like a performance-enhancing shoe.
Yes, right. Before why they were wearing Chuck Converse. Wait, so what would you say about Mike or LeBron? Where do you want to take that?
So, I think the cool thing about, being in the Bay Area for the past 5 years was seeing Steph Curry and the rise of Steph Curry, and kind of the same thing. How you said, it's just an average-looking guy who's an average size. LeBron is not that.
No.
LeBron is definitely a freak of nature. I mean, he's just a big guy who could have played football and probably could have been very good at football. But he's got the athletic ability. He's got the agility. I have a hard time believing that if LeBron James didn't play back in the day, that he wouldn't dominate. I'm just going to say he could dominate at any level, any position, handle the ball in a different way. They're just different.
Yes.
Michael Jordan the things he did was almost beauty. It was poetry in motion at times, and the confidence he had at the end of the game. They're just different players. And I think we've had so many great players in every sport throughout all the years. I think it degrades them to some extent to say,
to compare,
you're better, you're worse, you're not very good. They're just so different, but I've really enjoyed watching them both play. The next great one could be Zion Williamson out of Duke, although we haven't seen him play for a while after he blew out his Nike shoe and then had a little knee injury and is sat out.
They got a big game this week.
Final game of the regular season before the ACC tournament against North Carolina. You got number 4 versus number 3, Duke versus North Carolina. Do you want to see Zion Williamson play in that game? Should he play again?
That's a good question. Selfishly, as a fan, I want to watch him to see him because he is like that a little bit. Like the two guys we were just talking about, Michael Jordan-ish, LeBron James-ish, where you just go, man, I just want to tune in to watch this because I want to see this big freak of nature go down the lane and tomahawk slam on somebody or something like that. But at the same time, no. I think for my future fandom, I want to tell him, don't do it. Don't play. Give it up. You're the first pick in the draft. We know that. Don't risk anything. This is your business. This changes your life forever. It changes your family's life forever. It changes your grandkids' life forever. He can change his family tree history, basically, within the next few years if he protects his investment, which is his body, and that is his business. And
don't risk the opportunity to play for 30-win Knicks teams for the next 5 years. You don't want to blow that.
Well, him with Durant's going to be great because your Golden State team's it's looking dysfunctional.
I think that team will
they're
break
fall apart.
I think they will break apart, but I think they'll still be very good.
Yeah, they will, of course. I mean, you don't think he should play, right? Zion? Or do you?
I don't think he's healthy, first of all. I don't think he's healthy enough because he might not play the whole ACC tournament either. So, but, there's more than money to this whole thing, too, though. And you do hear, it was interesting, I heard DeMarcus Cousins talk about it because they were asking him, when he went down, like, would you not play because he played 1 year in college? Should the NBA change the rule and say 18-year-olds can go back?
Right.
And he said,
we can send you to war, but you can't make the decision to go to the NBA. You got to go to college. You're guilty. If we have a draft, you can go there.
It's a racket.
But
it is a racket.
How dare you make a decision and skip college and go to the NBA?
But and he said that. And DeMarcus says, I look at it differently now than I did then. I realize that I don't get that much out of it. He says, but the year that I was there at Kentucky, it was one of the best years of my life.
Right.
And so you do hear players talk fondly of their 1 year in college. So it's not always all about maximizing the dollar. It's about maximizing life experiences.
Yes, I get that.
And I think there's a lot. I'm sure Zion Williamson's had a really fun time playing.
No, I'm in college. Yeah, college atmosphere, it's a fair point you make. A college atmosphere is special. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Even in the NFL, as awesome as the NFL was, I mean, there's some certain college stadiums where I still think back about whether it was in Nebraska or Texas A&M going like, holy cow, that was an amazing environment and everything like that. But you can't have it all. And at some point, you do have to make some grown man decisions in this one. Yeah, there's probably some experiences where if he doesn't play, he's going to see the Sweet 16 and Duke's in it. He's going to go, damn, I wish I was out there right now.
100%.
But, that's something he's going to have to deal with and make a decision that he feels is best for him and his family.
So we'll see what happens with Zion Williamson. We'll also see what happens with his flirting process in the NFL.
Yep, I'm done flirting with you. I've had enough flirting with you this week.
Talking about thighs and calves and spandex and Good week. Good first week.
Way to go, kid.
We did it.
You're the man.
We got through it. Will there be a week number 2? Yet to be determined.
I haven't been fired yet. Peace out, homies. Have a good weekend. Thanks for listening. And remember, subscribe, right?
And like and retweet and whatever.
And YouTube /NBC Sports. Thanks a lot. Peace out, guys. See ya.